Afters, Mike Powell set to have his name up at the top of the dome. Here we go with the opening face-off. Johnny Richiusa for Syracuse, Tyler Dunn for Johns Hopkins. And the Orange win it. Richiusa runs under it. That's a good sign for the Cuse.
When we talked to Coach Gate, he said, let's make some 50-50 ground balls happen at the face-off X. That's exactly what he got there.
Team, the grad transfer from Lehigh. It's the Orange on the board first. So one possession, one goal for the Cuse. Dunn wins the next face-off. And he bounces it to the cross of Cramp. Having trouble possessing it, though. Now he has it. As the best attack recruit Syracuse has had since Mike Powell was getting honored today.
And their games aren't similar, but their impact, you feel it, and it feels the same way as that.
Richiusa wins another face-off, stoppage in play, and it's Syracuse possession. So Johnny Richiusa off to a 2-for-3 start. He assisted that insane Tucker Dordevic goal last year that was on SportsCenter, now playing defense for Syracuse, but not in the game. The Orange win another face-off. Johnny Richiusa won that one clean, and he's now 3-for-4, off to maybe his best start of the season right here.
Huge improvement. That's going to be big for Cuse as this game moves along. You have Mark moving from right to left. He's not really as easily able to get back and make that save.
Johns Hopkins makes a switch. That was Logan Callahan winning the draw for the Blue Jays. The honor of former great Mike Powell, who wore that 22. Richiusa and Dunn back at it. The Cuse still a man up with that unreleasable penalty. And the Canisius transfer nabs another.
His weaknesses this year is just a few too many open looks in the middle of the field.
So I want you to think back to going into your senior year here at Syracuse. You had a big 96 in your room because that's the amount of points you needed to, I think, break your brother Casey's record for career points here at Syracuse. And you ended up
out of Syracuse, and a nice answer to Hopkins' last man-up goal.
3 points for Spallina, 3 for Hiltz. And the Cuse response, now up 4-3. Callahan wins the next face-off. Mazzone can't handle the pass. Now the Orange drop back. When Hiltz, Alex Simmons missed all of the 2021 season with an injury, trying to find his footing in the midfield line. He makes a big impact there. Face-off infraction against Richiusa. Johns Hopkins gets another. Seems like that's kind of switched here in the second quarter. Tyler Dunn not taking the face-offs anymore. It's been Logan Callahan, and the Blue Jays have found success. So away from Baltimore, so back in his familiar territory and balling out for the Blue Jays. Today at midfield, though.
John Crawley in his positionless lacrosse, right?
Johns Hopkins with another face-off win. Now a 4-0 differential in this quarter alone, and that's transitive. He now has 3 or more points in his last 6 games. 3 goals and an assist.
Big face-off win for Cuse.
That's Jack Fine. We talked about how Coach Gate looking for answers. So he inserts Fine for Richiusa. Now the Cuse with a fast break. Thompson, known as a guy that loves the dirty areas of the field, perhaps that was one, says that's where the plays are made. He made one right there. Fine wins the faceoff, and he throws an interception.
Cuse gets it back. Game.
One stat you don't see is faceoffs dead even at 6 apiece. We've seen Johnny Richiusa for Syracuse and Jack Fine. But ground balls, winning that battle, got to be a good feeling for the Orange. They've struggled with that as of late. Fine gets the opening possession opportunity for Syracuse. They can get the ground ball, and Alexo vacuums it.
Alexo's a great player. You see what he does with the ball on the turf. He's able to goose it away from the Hopkins players, find a moment where he can cleanly pick it up and get it back to Mark.
So how about Jack Fine creating ground ball opportunities? To Player of the Week back in February. He scored a career-high 4 goals against Georgetown. Got a pair today. But Fine wins another face-off. The Orange try to run it to safety. They do so successfully.
And John, you talk about Melendez's 2 goals. He said he might be moving to midfield to get that short stick maintained.
Well, it's really smart because who do you put on Collison then if you want to switch somebody off of him to put on Melendez, right?
You're right. Yeah, it's a good thing to have for Hopkins, all these weapons.
Pick your poison. Very poisonous right now is the Johns Hopkins offense. Battle for the loose ball. Last touch by the Blue Jays. Syracuse takes over. Family. He's the youngest, kind of like Mike Powell, who will join us momentarily. Johns Hopkins wins the ensuing faceoff. Mark stonewalls the bouncer.
That's got to feel good for Mark. I imagine he wants the last couple goals back, getting us in 22. I think I also had 7 points in that game, so I did a good Mike Powell impression.
Where's your goalie stick, Evan? What is this?
That's when I used to have fun playing.
So you're saying playing goalie wasn't fun?
I mean, you can ask anybody. It's not the most fun, but it's rewarding when you're playing well.
Well, nobody's going to want to play goalie after hearing that. 3-on-3 battle for the loose ball. Johns Hopkins wins it. To Angeles down the alley. He scores! Jacob Angeles scoops it in right off the faceoff.
This is how the faceoff can really impact momentum. We talked about just winning the battles, getting you the possessions. Here we see it create instant offense. The pass to Angeles, easy score on Mark. He's got no chance, and now we're knotted up.
Angeles with the score. The assist from Jack Hawley, known as the face-off wing specialist for this team. Angeles had his fingerprints all over this game. Had his first goal, but 2 assists as well, getting involved in the scoring column.
And he's been facilitating nicely too, having hockey assists that won't show up on the stat sheet, but he gets things going for the Hopkins offense.
The Orange win the next face-off. That's a big one to settle this 8. And Jack Fine a lot to do with that. Replace Johnny Richiusa. He's got 6 wins.
Where that's really going to come into play too, John, is the fourth quarter and the decision making and closing out these games. If you're able to get an extra possession, it's going to be huge for the Syracuse team.
Make it 7 win. UNC, Duke, after starting the first 4 games, he's responded so well today.
And that's exactly what you want. I think what's most impressive about these freshmen is they do. But look out for these Syracuse freshmen to put a button on this.
Johns Hopkins wins the first face-off here out of the break, and that's a big one because it leads to a possession for the Blue Jays, who just scored, courtesy of Matt Collis.
With a little pop there at the end. Sometimes you call it, sometimes you don't. So
yeah,
Cuse got away with one there.
The Blue Jays win another face-off. We're starting to see the kind of effects of those wins if you're a Syracuse. First game against Syracuse, makes the biggest play. And Hawley throws some more salt in the Syracuse wound. The nephew of Coach Petramala with a big ground ball pickup, and now the Blue Jays can just waste away the clock.